My name is Auna Nygaard. I am doing research on missionary slang. I'm presenting my paper at the American Dialect Society this January. I feel like it's the perfect experiment that sociolinguists would never get approval to do, where you just take a bunch of people who are at the prime of their slang-making careers, you put them in a largely peer-regulated structure and system with a lot of rules. One of the rules is to avoid slang, and you sit back and you watch how their language develops. We ended up getting about 85 missions in about 40 to 50 languages. The biggest ones, as far as the categories I found, were value-based categories, so like stigmatizing things for being too obedient or for not being obedient enough, and so a lot of back and forth socially. I'm just kind of deciding like how obedient is socially acceptable, how disobedient is socially acceptable, how romantic as a missionary is socially acceptable. So essentially it's a lot of how slang operated to dictate what was in the realm of being okay, even if it wasn't within the overall rule structure. Then you have romantic interest terms. Frog was probably my favorite. It's this idea of a frog in boiling water, and if you throw a frog in boiling water, they jump back out, but if you slowly turn up the heat, they'll stay in there and they'll burn alive. So basically it's like, who's your frog? Like, what is your boiling water? Pretty much anything that had to do locationally with areas in the mission had some sort of biblical reference. You had Sodom and Gomorrah areas, you had outer darkness areas, celestial areas, that sort of thing. And then the last major category was the mission life metaphor and faux families, which is basically this idea that your entire life is cut off except for what's in the mission. So the mission itself takes on the timeline and the familial aspects of life. So you're born into an area, you have kids, you have parents, you die in an area. My favorite one for that is mission veil, which is the idea of, passing through a veil of forgetfulness into a new life where you can't remember things before the mission, and when you're off the mission, you can't remember things on the mission. You have to have language that codifies your experience when you don't have it somewhere else. Like, no matter how stigmatized it is or how much you personally don't feel like you're using it, it's impossible to get fully rid of, and I think because of that, it echoes that as a really essential role in articulating your experience in a way that nothing else can. If you're interested in getting involved in research, just find a topic that you like to look into, start brainstorming how it works, and I've found when you go to professors with a structure, a lot of them are like, okay, yeah, and they'll help walk you through the process a lot. So it really just comes down to hitting the pavement and going.